it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. I have got a whole lot of card making videos on my channel, and my channel is about kind of exploring and creating all those different techniques that are out there for card making. There are so many. But even though there are so many, sometimes I still get stuck in a rut when it comes to card making, and sometimes I just want to sit down and create. And as I said, there are many ideas out there for card making, but I just want sometimes really simple, clean, fun, kind of don't have to think too deeply, not a whole lot of measuring kind of card making. And that is what this video is today. There is just a few ideas that I kind of go to when I am stuck in a little bit of a rut and I just want some really easy, fun card making for myself. So I have cut a whole lot of strips from the Peppermint cardstock. That way, if I use them all from the same paper pad, then I know that they're going to coordinate really nice and easily. I'm using some Stick It double-sided adhesive sheets onto some copy paper, and I have smoothed them out, given them lots of pressure so that I can peel off the other layer, the other side. These Stick It adhesive sheets are really thin double-sided sheets, and they are great if you are going to be die cutting them, if you're going to be trimming them with your paper trimmers and things. And I just cut out a whole lot of strips. These are all 1/4 of an inch strips, and I just have them all cut out ready to go, and I am going to quickly pop these down on this piece of copy paper, which is just really thin paper. Now, this is not groundbreaking card making. This is nothing crazy. This has been done before and will be done again. This is just what I do when I need a little bit of kind of calm card making. So in the comment section down below, I would love to know what your kind of go-to designs are or your go-to techniques are if you just want to kind of sit down and create something fun but without too much thinking involved. I really love to hear things like this, so as I said, let me know in the comment section down below, and it will be really interesting to hear what different people kind of gravitate towards for this kind of card making. If you have been watching my channel for any length of time, or if you have just come across me, I am a card maker here in New Zealand. I live in the South Island. We have just gone through winter and we are still waiting for summer to arrive. It is very much spring. We have hail this week and it is pretty cold. It's about 2 or 3 degrees in the daytime, so I am just waiting for it to warm up a little bit and get into summer. I'm waiting for all of my seeds to germinate for my veggies. I'm excited for that. I have 2 young children, and you will see their hands appear every now and then as they help me do my card making and things. And I run a Facebook group. We have a Facebook group called Come Crafting with Natasha, which is a fabulous place that you are able to share all of your makes and creations that have been inspired by, I think I have around 400 or 500 videos on YouTube now. So yeah, if you're inspired by any of those, that's a great place to go and share your creations, and I will leave a link to that Facebook page down below. I also like to leave links to any of the products that I have used in the videos. Sometimes it's not possible, sometimes they have been discontinued, but for many of the videos that I create and many of the techniques that I use, I would like to think that you can look around your stash if you've been card making for any length of time and be able to kind of see things that you are able to use from your own stash, that you are able to adapt or use instead of, and they will look brilliant as well. So it is a matter of using what you have in your stash. When I purchase items, and I do really enjoy purchasing card making items, but I really like to think of as many ways that I'm going to use them. I want to think not only how I'm going to use them, but how I'm going to adapt them and change them so that I can use them in different ways than perhaps they were intended, or perhaps the obvious way. So on my channel, that's what you'll see lots of, is me using things in lots of different ways. You'll see me reusing all of the same stamp sets and die sets that I choose to invest in, because this can be an expensive hobby, and I want to make the most of those things that come into my really small craft space. So that's just a little bit about me, but in the meantime, I have die cut out the same cardstock using an Hero Arts Infinity Circles die set, and I just did pretty much the same technique as the strips, but we do it in circles, and you are obviously able to get, I think I used 6 or so colors. You're able to use do them the same and get 6 circles, but I just made 2 just for this video. I'm going to create a few cards here just so you can see how I turn these into cards. I'm cutting this directly in half, and then I'm going to cut this in quarters as well. I really like that one with the darker blue around the edge there. I feel like that just gives it a really definitive frame, so I probably am leaning towards that one a little bit more. I cut up some of my pieces, some of my strips earlier on into smaller pieces. I had a couple of ideas what I was going to do, but as usual with my card making, I kind of changed my mind as I was going through the process, which is absolutely fine to do. So I'm going to show you a couple of cards I've created. In the top left hand corner are those pieces that I ended up not using, but I have taken a blue piece of that cardstock. This is the same one that I have used in the strips and circles, so from the same paper pad. I have this stamp set here. This is the Made For You stamp set. I have used this one a whole lot of times, a lot of times on my channel, and it is just a really good staple. It's got the perfect size, it's got all the different sentiments. I'm going to heat emboss this. I use my anti-static powder bag, which is really important before you are doing any type of heat embossing. I'm using my VersaMark sticky embossing ink, and I'm going to stamp this down nice and even, just using an acrylic block. And you can see that there's a little bit of white residue left there from the powder bag, but you are able to wipe this off afterwards. It just means that any embossing powder is not going to stick in places where we don't want it to. We only want this bright white embossing powder to stick on the sentiment that we have stamped. So I'm going to funnel the rest back into that little bottle, and then I am going to heat this with my heat tool until it melts and looks all nice and shiny, and this is going to be one of the sentiments that will go across my card. This is a very nice big bold sentiment with that bright white on the darker blue cardstock. I really love this look. It really pops off the page. Now if you are keen to check out any of the products that I have used in today's video, I will leave links to everything down in the description box below. Now this card here is really simple. I'm sorry that I go off camera a little bit. I think I was just in my happy place. I was probably singing, so thankfully you don't have the audio to this, but I am just going to make this a really clean and simple card. And sometimes it's good to remember that although there are all these gorgeous ideas, these beautiful cards are absolutely gorgeous, and the recipients who receive them, those who end up looking at them or seeing them at somebody's house, still think that these look really gorgeous, just as gorgeous as some of the more complicated cards as well. So I'm just using some matte medium. This is the multi-matte medium by Ranger, and I put it into these little glue bottles, and then that way I have a really strong adhesive with a nice fine tip on the bottle that I don't have to squeeze too hard to kind of get it to come out. And this card here, again, it is very simple, but I am going to change it up a little bit more with the next card that I do. I'm going to put that one aside to dry. This one here, again, very simple design, but I'm going to pop these in all 4 corners, and they will overlap ever so slightly, but I kind of think that adds to the look. The card bases that I'm using are all 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card bases. I use the 110 pound Recollections cardstock for all of my card fronts and card bases these days. I used to use the Nina cardstock, and that is what I'm used to using. However, I found this earlier in the year, and a friend recommended it to me, and I have found this to be absolutely brilliant for both card bases. It is nice and strong and sturdy, and I end up using it for the card fronts as well. I've stamped out another one of those sentiments from that same Made For You stamp set, and then these are 2 gorgeous cards. Now from here there are so many other things that you could end up doing. You could add all sorts of embellishments to these cards, and here I was toying with adding some of these flat back silver little gems, and I mean I kind of like it, but when I put it on I just felt like it looked too busy and it kind of took away from it, and I just really liked the clean and simple design. So I ended up taking all of these off and just leaving them as is, and that's okay too, to not have to kind of go overboard and keep them nice and simple. Anyway, as I said, I would love to know what your kind of go-to designs are, or your go-to techniques are that you just want to relax and enjoy some card making time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate all of the amazing support that I get on this channel. It is insane to me that we have this amazing community built here, and I don't know what I'd do without it. So thank you so much. All of your comments mean a lot to me. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Thanks, bye.